Hey everyone, I'm trying to invite here Dr. Tsay from Ageless MD. Hey YouTube, before we jump into the video, make sure you check out my Patreon account. It's designed for serious medical aesthetics providers just like you. Hey! So I'm going to introduce you. This is Dr. Tsay from Ageless MD. He's from California. He's got a super successful practice, and he's been using Sylfirm X for a while now. And honestly, I went in and I did a ton of research. And one of the machines that I didn't hear about at the time, but I started hearing waves and new technology, was this Sylfirm X. And I saw that Dr. Tsay was using this machine, and we were both presenters for International United Congress, and this is how I know Dr. Tsay, and we've presented twice there. I respect him and I look up to him and as a colleague, and at the same time I reached out to him and he helped me out a lot with making a decision, and this is what we're chatting about today. We're talking about Sylfirm X, and welcome, man. Thank you for having us.
Thanks. I'm glad to finally get on board, and I'm going to need your help with all those dancing TikTok videos. So, so full disclosure, I did use a device previously before Sylfirm. It was called Secret. It's funny because I bought it from a Korean company before it was sold to Kutera, and I got good use of it, and I felt like I did pretty good with it. I even got further training. I hired more trainers to teach my team, and I really feel like I got like the most out of it. And I got to where I was kind of peaked out, and I actually had heard about Sylfirm like over 2 years ago. But my mentality at the time is like, well, I don't want to be redundant. Just like with your wardrobe, you know, you've got two gray shirts that are long sleeve and button down. I mean, you want a third one or a fourth one. So it was like, you know, like I've got that technology, but I never really appreciated it until I met Dr. Na, and I saw that it was technology, yes, but there's also technique involved. And I'm a thread person. That's my forte, is doing a lot of threadless. And so when I saw the technology combined with, it's called vectoring. So with the RF microneedling, with the Sylfirm, we take it and we vector it. And I'm a physics and science guy, and with the threads, I vector all the time. And I was like, wow, I never thought to do that. I never thought to take the patterns of the RF microneedling and vector them just like exactly how I do my thread vectoring.
So vectoring, you mean like you're lifting the skin as you're doing it?
Like, for example, you want to lift the nasolabial fold this direction. So, you know, you're taking the device and you're torquing it. You're putting on the skin and you pull it up and you lay down the energy. You pull the skin up, you lay down the energy. So you're cementing the layer 2 and 3 together. You're kind of bringing them and connecting them. And this, by the way, I'm getting older, but you can see this concept right here is a disconnect. When I consult my patients, I say, well, my cheeks don't move when I do this, but when I do this, my whole skin comes off. This is a disconnect. And so if we can get that reconnected to the tissue, that just does wonders. But anyway, I saw the techniques, I saw the technology, and then because the Sylfirm has the pulse wave in addition, and then can also treat melasma and vascularity and rosacea, I was like, okay, this is very interesting now.
Let's dive right into it. So let's separate what makes a difference between Sylfirm and what is it that makes this device so special for you?
Well, first of all, with the previous device I had, Secret, it was insulated. And the idea was like, oh, you have to go insulated because you're going to burn the epidermis, but that's actually not true. So like the whole needle tip is mostly insulated except for the tip, which means you only have like a fraction of a millimeter to deliver all that energy. Which, guess what? You've got to really crank it up, but you really have to deploy that energy in a really small area to be as effective. Whereas an uninsulated needle and the way that the Sylfirm works, you know, that energy has been delivered through the entire needle length. It is tapered, so the tip of it gets more energy and then gradually coagulates upward. But still, you are more efficiently delivering energy. It's not a heavy hitter, and it actually causes less downtime, and it's actually very less painful.
How is it possible that this machine, if it's designed to be safer for darker skin types, where it's going to decrease the chances of having like post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, which is like those little dark specks that people get if they have darker pigments, how is it possible that this needle, because it's not insulated, is going to protect the skin versus another type of device that has an insulated type? And why isn't that device not as safe for darker skin?
So I'm going to use this pen example. And this is the actual needle well, one single needle going into penetrating the skin. And typically an insulated needle would have the insulation from here to here, and this part uninsulated. Well, the Sylfirm needle, the entire needle is uninsulated, but the way the energy's been delivered, it starts off at the tip and it works its way up. So as the time progresses, it starts here and it works its way up. And by the time the needle exits the skin, it's already dissipated. So it's a very clean and efficient energy delivering system. And because you've got the entire needle length that's delivering the energy, you don't have to do multiple passes. For example, with a secret, I would have to go 2.5 and then layer another pass 1.5 and then go layer another pass at 0.5. Whereas with the Sylfirm, I can get to 2.5 to 1.5 to the 0.5 all with one pass without having to go a second and a third time. So you see that example, just that one example alone, you can see how the energy is being delivered really efficiently.
The other thing too is that the 1 megahertz versus the 2 megahertz. A lot of people are like, what is that? Basically 2 megahertz is like double the efficiency of power that's coming through the needle, and it's coming at the very tip, where most devices now are using 1 megahertz, which is actually more painful. They have to keep it there for a little longer, where this one, because it's 2 megahertz and you're getting really most of the power at the tip, it's not in there very long, which makes it less painful, more concentration of power. And you're right, it like basically kind of has like a teardrop effect where most of the power is at the base, it dissipates at the top, and by the time that the zap's already done, it's not painless, but it's definitely not as painful as the other machines, in my opinion, and you're getting more out of each zap. So for you, Asian background, like have you tested out yourself? Do you have a lot of Asian clients or clients that have darker pigments, which are kind of like tricky to treat, and have you had good results? Any things that you recommend, any patch testing or anything like that?
Yes, you do have to treat, the settings do have to be a little bit different with darker skin types. You're not going to go the same setting for skin type 2 as a skin type 5 like myself. So it is a little bit different. And even when we did the first demo, when I first was really considering buying the machine and we ran demos, one of the first patients we did was a skin type 5. And the results with her alone, the befores and after was so incredible that we were able to, because of that one before and after photo, we did such incredible sales with that before and after photo that we were able to pay the machine off in 3 months, which is like, I've never done that in my practice before. Whatever technology I'm bringing on, my goal is to pay it off in 6 months, but to do it in half that time, I was blown away.
For you, how many sessions is average? Do you feel you get great amount of treatments, like 2, 3, 4? What do you recommend? And do you think that some need more, and for what type of treatments?
I would say definitely someone that has like acne scarring, ice pick scars, I definitely recommend going up to like 4 to 6 sessions. And then we also do combination treatments too with the subcision, with TCA cross, et cetera, or even possibly CO2. But what I like about this machine is it's so versatile that any demographic can really benefit. A 30-year-old that is coming to see me for facial slimming because they have extra adipose tissue on their lower face, they can benefit. A 40-year-old that's starting to see some skin laxity, they can benefit. A 68-year-old that doesn't want to undergo a facelift, they can benefit. All across the board, every age group, every demographic, and all skin types. So this technology can capture so many patients, and I think it's very versatile, whatever practice that you own.
Cool. Let's talk a little bit about like the difference between the 2 wavelengths. So we have a continuous wavelength, and then there's a pulse wavelength. And I think that's also another unique feature about this machine. So I want to know what your thoughts about, can we explain a little bit between the 2 pulses, and at the same time, how it can help with pigmented lesions?
Okay, so for those who don't know, Scarlet was kind of like the first generation of the Sylfirm. So Scarlet was just basically Sylfirm with the continuous wave. There was no pulse wave with the Scarlet. So that's why Dr. Na's new baby is the Sylfirm X, because it's basically Scarlet plus it's got the pulse wave. So there's different pulse waves where the energy's been divided into pulses. And the whole theory behind that is that you can actually really attack that basement membrane. So you get a very selective energy delivering system targeting that 0.3 microns or 300 microns basement membrane, and go after vascular, go after the vascular component of melasma, go after rosacea. For example, melasma, we do like to combine it with other treatments, and we have other ingredients that we use with a post-care that will help with the pigmentation as well. So it's not, we don't claim this to be the best overall treatment for melasma that's out there. If this is all you have for melasma, it definitely works. I mean, if this is your only treatment plan for melasma, it definitely works. But if you can combine it, say, with a Q switch combined with a Sylfirm X, that would be even better.
I think we're good, honestly. This answers a lot of questions for, I think, the general public of, you know, what Sylfirm X is. And I appreciate you being here with me, my man.
Great, great. Thanks for having me. All
Okay.
right, boss. We'll
Take
see you
care.
another day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Thanks for joining. Take care.